Hey everyone, welcome back once again. Today I do have a pretty big video for you, something I'm really excited to do, something I've been thinking about doing for quite a long time. I want to go through my top 10 horror novels that I personally have ever read. Now, huge disclaimer here, so I don't see this in the comments later. No Stephen King, okay? Stephen King is overqualified for this list, even though some of you King haters out there that may be watching this because of the horror genre may think all of these novels are better than Stephen King. But for the sake of this video and for the sake of my preferences, no Stephen King allowed on this video. There's other lists for that. I just want to go through the top 10 horror novels not by Stephen King that I've read. So let's get into it. Okay, first up at number 10, another prolific author in this genre, Dean Koontz. He has so many books. I'm going to go with Dragon Tears. This was one of the earlier Dean Koontz novels that I had read, and this one was really the one that made me think Dean Koontz is for me. I really did enjoy this novel. It had a creepy little, I want to say maybe a religious horror type subgenre here. In a sense, if you read it, you may know what I'm talking about. It was almost like, a modern day Jesus Christ figure that was using his powers, if you want to put it that way, for evil. So it was definitely an intriguing read. I thought the ride was amazing. Always the pacing with King Koontz's novels are pretty fast paced, and I really did enjoy this one and got through it pretty quick. So number 10, kicking off my list, Dean Koontz's Dragon Tears. Okay, next up, number 9, Island by Richard Lehman. Now, let me tell you about this novel. If you've watched my channel, I've talked about this novel a couple other times, but this, to me, is my favorite Lehman novel, and I have read quite a few of them up to this point. Now, like I've said, Lehman isn't for everybody. This novel especially won't be for everybody. You've got to understand that it is a very raunchy novel, perverted novel. Our main character who basically narrates this novel throughout the entire thing is a very perverted teenage boy. Let's just put it that way. Now, if you get past that, the ride of that this novel is something else. It will grip you. It will keep you turning pages. And this one was one of those where I just couldn't really put it down. Follows a family who gets marooned basically on an island, and there's other people, maybe other stuff going on this island. It's a mysterious island that the longer they're there and the more they explore, the more they keep unraveling this weird little mystery of what the island is. It is a lot of fun, and like I said, this one is a go-to if you can get past everything I've opened up with this one. I highly recommend it. Number 9 on my list, Richard Lehman's Island. Okay, coming in at number 8 is The Troop by Nick Cutter. Love Nick Cutter, and The Troop is by far my favorite Nick Cutter novel. This is another visceral novel. Pretty gory at times. And again, a very similar concept of The Island. This one follows a troop of Boy Scouts as they get stuck. Basically, this one's they're stuck out in the wilderness in eastern Canada, I believe the setting is. And they're basically in a Lord of the Flies-esque way, left to their own devices. And things start to get a little squirrely when this mysterious stranger washes up on shore, and he seems to be a little ill. And the story goes from there as this mystery virus kind of starts spreading through the troop here. And like I said, it's a visceral novel. It is not for the faint of heart, for sure. But once again, a great horror read. will gross you out at times, will keep you guessing throughout the whole way, and this one is quite the ride as well. So coming in at number 8 is The Troop by Nick Cutter. At number 7, we have a classic, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I couldn't go through this whole list without putting one of the classics on at least, and Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is definitely my favorite of the classic horror. I've referred to this novel in the past as a beautiful novel, and to me, it really is. It's so well written, and it's a touching story in a way. It really makes you sympathize with Frankenstein's monster, and to me, this is it's a great Halloween read. It gives you that fall, just a cozy fall vibe to this novel. And yeah, I mean, not much else to say. Everyone knows the plot of this, but if you haven't checked this one out and you are a horror fan, I really do recommending it and recommend getting back to the roots of horror and checking out a lot of the classics. So Mary Shelley's Frankenstein comes in at number 7 for me. On to number 6 now, and this, I have said in the past, is one of my favorites, Summer of Night by Dan Simmons. I hope the glare isn't too bad with these covers here, the Mylar covers. The glare can be a little bad at times, but I hope you're all right. So Summer of Night by Dan Simmons. Once again, in the same vein as Stephen King's It, a coming-of-age story, very similar in a sense of the surface level of the plot of this. A group of young children on summer vacation end up doing battle, so to speak, with an ancient evil that has resided in their old school, and therefore, causing havoc in their small town. So once again, if you know my channel, love small town horror, and this fits that category. So if you like, I've said it in the past, if you like Stephen King's It, I suggest picking this one up. It's a great ride, and yeah, just a horror staple for me. So number 6, Dan Simmons, Summer of Night. All right, halfway down the list at number 5, we have Peter Straub's Ghost Story. So many good things to say about this. This book has a lot of layers to it, great character development. This is by far, pretty easily, my favorite Peter Straub story. I just remember when I was reading this one, I was so immersed in it, and I just couldn't wait to get home and read this book. It really did consume me in that sense, in a good way. So yeah, Peter Straub's Ghost Story, I highly recommend to you. The plot itself follows a group of older men at our present day in the novel who kind of get together once a month or so, and they have this little club where they share stories with each other. But they do have a past, a shared history from when they were younger, where they did something a little questionable and tried to cover it up. And now, all these years later, that same evil is still stalking them in a supernatural way. So, like I said, it's a supernatural horror story, and it's a good one. I do highly recommend checking this one out. At number 5, halfway down my list, is Peter Straub's Ghost Story. Coming in at number 4, we have our second Dan Simmons novel on this list. He is the only repeat author in this top 10, but I just couldn't pick one of the two between Summer and Night and this one. The Terror is unbelievable. It is a huge novel, but that's what makes it good. This novel is so deep. There is so many layers to it. He really took his time. It's long-winded. It's very intricate when they're talking about, the Arctic and being stuck in the ice and everything like that. And this one's just, take your time with it and enjoy it. You know you're not going to get through it too quick, so I really recommend just letting this one sink in. The Terror, if you didn't know, is about the HMS Terror. They were trying to get through, I think it was the Bering Strait, I believe, somewhere up there. And it gets stuck in the ice, and then they have to wait out the winter until the ice thaws in order to carry on and get through. But, this specific story, the the ice doesn't really thaw, and they're stuck out there for quite a while. They end up encountering some ancient Inuit, I believe, some of the natives up there, and it's quite the story. There's a bit of a supernatural twist to it, something weird stalking them. So much going on in this novel. It's a survival horror, like I said, with a supernatural twist that is just unbelievable. I just had such a good time reading this, and easily by far one of the best horror novels. The Terror by Dan Simmons at number 4. At number 3, taking the bronze on this list, is Chasing the Boogeyman by Richard Chizmar. I have talked about this one multiple times on my channel. I love Chasing the Boogeyman, the first novel. I loved Becoming the Boogeyman, and I really hope he does write a third to make this a trilogy, because these are so good. Like I've said in the past, Chasing the Boogeyman kind of gives you that found footage, Blair Witch vibe. It's got a mix of true crime. It's basically written like a true crime novel, but, you know, in a fictional way, obviously. And yeah, Chasing the Boogeyman just has that creep factor dialed up for sure. You know, there's a individual who they believe is kidnapping kids and stalking kids in a small town. And like I said, just a very creepy read. And if you love true crime and you love kind of murder mystery and things like that, eerie novels, this is the one for you. You really can't go wrong. Yeah, I highly recommend, obviously. At number 3, Richard Chizmar's Chasing the Boogeyman. At number 2, we have John Avid Linkvist with Let the Right One In. Oh, where do I even begin with this? I just adore this novel. It's a vampire novel, but with such a fresh twist to it. It's so good. You just can't go wrong with European horror. I think it's some of the best horror writers in today's age are European. And Linkvist, if you don't know, he's from Sweden. And this, to me, is by far, obviously, one of the best horror novels I've read. Follows a young girl who clearly is not completely human, and she befriends a boy about her age, aesthetically her age, I guess you could say. But yeah, they become friends, but she has, you know, certain needs as being what she is. So it is a vampire novel, and it is so good, so well written. I love Linkvist. If you watch my channel, you would know I love Linkvist. I have read everything he's written, and to me, this one easily is his best novel. So please check out Let the Right One In. Great time to read it right now with it being the spooky season, and this one you can't go wrong. Okay, and my number 1 won't come as a surprise to anyone who's been around this channel for a long time. Boy's Life by Robert McCammon. My favorite novel. I read this once a year. I just think it gets better with every read. Another coming-of-age, small-town horror, still with that supernatural twist to it. And this one really does capture life in a small town, the simple life. And it really talks about how, you know, the world does move on. And sometimes not totally for the positive, that, you know, the things that we sacrifice for the sake of convenience, you end up missing those things as you grow older, and it's really just a look back like that, with just a great story, coming of age story with that, you know, horror supernatural twist to it. Yeah, a great ride, a great bit of a twist ending that you definitely won't see coming, and yeah, just one of the best novels, period, that I've ever read. So Robert McCammon's Boy's Life comes in at number 1. Okay, once again, thank you for watching this video. If you've stuck with me till the end, please leave your comments below. Let me know if you agree, disagree. Some novels that aren't on this list that are in your favorites that maybe I haven't read and I should check out. So always enjoy the back and forth with you guys, and happy reading. We'll talk to you guys soon.